Now some weekend when it's raining and your mother is complaining.
Welcome to the Lincoln City Council meeting of April 4th, 2022. In accordance with LB 898, please be advised that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted at the back of the chamber by the northwest door. Let us all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a brief period of silent meditation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The order of business of the City Council is as follows. The clerk will call the items listed on the agenda under public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on an item should come forward after the clerk reads that item. The applicant and those in favor should speak first, then those opposed. The applicant may then make one short rebuttal. Each speaker should begin by stating their name, address, and whether you're speaking in favor of or in opposition to the item. Testimony is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. After all public hearings, the council will vote on resolutions and items listed under third reading. On the second and last Mondays of the month, immediately prior to adjournment, anyone may speak on any issue not on the agenda for that date nor planned for a future agenda. Will the clerk please call the first item of business?
Our first item of business is our Mayor's Award of Excellence.
Good afternoon, Chairman Bowers and members of the council. It's great to be back to announce the Mayor's Award of Excellence for October 2021. We're getting there. And we are going to be awarding this today to Sarah Hartzell, a planning assistant in the Parks and Recreation Department. She was nominated by Facilities and Operations Manager J.J. Yost and by Director of Parks and Rec Lynn Johnson in the categories of productivity and customer relations for her leadership in developing the User Experience Master Plan for Wilderness Park between October 2020 and May 2021. Now, this master plan identifies and prioritizes improvements in Wilderness Park, a conservation area of about 1,475 acres. And the goal was to make the park more accessible for people to the 31 miles of trails within it. The project involved significant community input, as you might imagine, but if you heard me say the timeline, traditional processes for gathering that public input had to look a little bit different due to the pandemic. And so Sarah adapted her efforts. She assembled a steering committee and worked with members through email and by Zoom. She also used her community engagement experience to create meaningful opportunities for residents to participate in the process through surveys, interactive web-based maps, and opportunities for people to safely see signage options in outdoor displays at the actual park. The result is an appealing and engaging master plan that is expected to result in greater use of the park as a unique natural resource for Lincoln and Lancaster County. The Parks and Rec Advisory Board adopted the plan in May of 2021, and the first phase of improvements identified in the plan are in progress. The Lincoln Parks Foundation launched a fundraising campaign to implement the remaining phases. And the process to make this progress might have looked different. Sarah's nominators wrote, quote, "We explored the potential of engaging a professional consulting firm to develop the Wilderness Park User Experience Master Plan. Sarah's willingness, though, to lead the development of the master plan with an in-house team resulted in saving approximately $75,000 in consulting fees." So I hope you will please join me in thanking Sarah and congratulating her for her hard work and her commitment to the city of Lincoln. A couple of folks would like to speak. Parks and Rec Director Lynn Johnson would like to come forward, and then he will be followed by J.J. Yost. And then after that, Sarah, we'll ask you to say a few words. Here, I'll scoot over.
Good evening, Lynn Johnson with Lincoln Parks and Recreation. It is a great pleasure to be here today for this recognition of Sarah. For those of you who know her, she has significant planning background. She has a deep working knowledge of Wilderness Park as a place, the history of Wilderness Park, and also kind of the interlocal agreements that are around the management of Wilderness Park. She has professional training in community engagement and meeting facilitation, and developed really a unique set of opportunities for the community to engage in this process. And it resulted in a plan that there was great ownership in, with great creativity, and one that we're very proud of and looking forward to implement. So it is a great pleasure for me to recognize Sarah this afternoon.
Okay, JJ.
Thank you. I don't really need to duplicate anything that's been said about Sarah, other than I want to say that the mayor noted meaningful engagement, and that's what Sarah's really about. Sarah walks the walk, really, in Wilderness Park and in a lot of our facilities, and she takes input and uses it, reviews it with staff in a meaningful way so that people really do understand they've been heard, and we take those things into account. So I'm just very pleased for Sarah. Thanks.
Sarah?
Okay, I'm a crier, so if anything happens, give me some slack. I just want to thank JJ and Lynn. I love working with the Parks Department. My team there, so talented, a bunch of young kids who actually know how to run graphics programs and things like that, so they make me look really good. I want to thank Mayor for selecting me from, I'm sure, a huge group of people that were nominated. And I want to thank my husband. See, here's where it's going to get weird. He has constructed more little displays, and he built me a 7-foot tall replica of what the signage was going to look like, so that I could haul it around in the back of my truck and take it to different sites, and people could actually get a feel for what that sign looked like. He's helped me set up more little displays and meetings and all that sort of thing. He deserves it. So, as far as the park goes, I love Wilderness Park. I'm so excited that I got to be part of this, and I'm so excited to see things happening out there. It couldn't have happened at a better time, honestly, because Wilderness Park has seen so many people that it's much busier than it ever has been. So there's no time like the present to make these improvements and really make that a usable, comfortable, wonderful park for people to visit. So thank you.
Is there anyone else you wanted to introduce who's here?
My mom came today. Yes, she has also helped me on several different projects. My poor family, they volunteered. Thank you.
We appreciate you and your family. Thank you so much for allowing us to come down. Oh, nice. We'll be stepping out to do pictures in a moment after the person I bring before you in just a minute. So thank you.
Next on our agenda is our consent agenda, sections 1 and 2.
Is there anyone that would like to speak on any of these items? Is there anyone that would like to speak on any items on the consent agenda?
Are we going to have discussion on Barb?
Apologize. A little rusty on this, but hello again. I am so pleased to stand before you today to introduce my nomination for the new director of our Lincoln-Lancaster County Human Resources Department, Barbara Mcintyre. Barb is a human resources professional with over 20 years of experience as both a leader in the public and private sectors. She worked for one of Lincoln's largest employers, Emeritus, for over a decade, and her recent experience is in the transportation sector at a local engineering company and at the state of Nebraska's Department of Transportation. She has a bachelor's degree in business administration from Doane University and a master's degree in human resources from Troy University. She is certified as a classification compensation professional, a professional in human resources, and a Society of Human Resources Management certified professional. She comes with all the credentials. Throughout the search process, I was really impressed with Barb's ability to articulate a vision for supporting our talented workforce and developing that workforce, given that they provide critical services to our community. So the importance of her leadership at this joint department, it cannot be overstated. So this role serves our city leadership team. It serves our county elected and appointed department directors, and most importantly, our employees. So my administration has made it a priority to bolster the resources of the department to support career development of our workforce, to implement diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and to provide staff support for our new payroll system. And on that note, I look forward to working with all of you to provide budgetary support that addresses the future opportunities and challenges that are part of managing a dynamic workforce like that of our local government. With that, I would like to invite Director nominee Mcintyre to come and join me here and say a few words, and I respectfully request your support for her nomination as the next Director of the Human Resources Department for Lincoln and Lancaster County.
Well, good afternoon. I am overwhelmed and grateful for this opportunity to be selected as the new Human Resources Director for the City of Lincoln and Lancaster County. I think we've got an amazing opportunity to be a premier employer in our city and county. We've got a very dynamic workforce environment right now. I think it's the biggest reinvention of work that's going to happen in my career that we see going on out there. So that excites me. I'm excited about those challenges, and I look forward to working together to figure out how do we move forward, how do we create a enhanced employee value proposition and really a talent brand that clearly communicates why someone would want to select this as a great place to work. So I want to express my thanks, and I'm deeply honored. I'm looking forward, hopefully, to a positive vote from all of you, and we'll work together to figure out how we move forward and do great things. So,
Are there any questions or comments from the council?
No, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak on any of the consent items? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to move on.
We can now vote on these items. Item 1A is approving the on-call professional services task order agreement between the City of Lincoln and Alfred Benish and Company for preliminary engineering services for Lincoln area bridges rehab project preliminary engineering project, introduced by McGinnis.
So moved. Second?
Moved and seconded by Councilman Beckius. Any discussion? Seeing none, may we please call the roll?
Raybold?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1B is approving the on-call professional service task order agreement between the City of Lincoln and SRF Consulting Group, Inc. for environment services for the Lincoln area bridges rehab project, introduced by McGinnis.
So moved. Second?
Moved and seconded by Councilman Beckius. Any discussion? Seeing none, may we please call the roll?
Washington?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 1C is approving the appointment of Barb Mcintyre as Human Resources Director for the Lincoln Lancaster County Human Resources Department, effective April 11th, 2022, introduced by McGinnis.
So moved. Second?
Moved and seconded by Councilwoman Raybold. Any discussion? Seeing none, may we please call the roll?
Ward?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
Raybold?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes, and welcome to the City of Lincoln.
Next up would be Section 4, our public hearing resolutions. Item 4A is approving the services agreement between the City of Lincoln on behalf of the Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department and the Board of Regents of the University of Nebraska on behalf of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln for online food handler training in Spanish.
Is there anyone that would like to speak on this item?
I apologize, I was in the line as they were wandering out. So.
My name is Scott Holmes. I manage the Environmental Health Division with Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department. I trust the item called was the contract with UNL. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. This is a contract which we have an interlocal agreement with the University of Nebraska-Lincoln Food Science and Technology Department. We have done so for many years on food handler training, and we have wanted for some time to update that training to include training on the same content but in the Spanish language. Currently we do those classes in person, and we will continue to offer that for some time, but our goal is to have an online training both in Spanish and English. Those are our two primary languages that are in our food handler workforce. Each year we train about 13 to 15,000 people in safe food handling, and over a time period of several years that involves probably 40 to 50,000 people being trained. So very important aspect of what we do, and ask for your approval. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on item 4A? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on.
Item 4B is approving the dedication of 40 acres in the eastern portion of Jensen Park as public parkland.
Good afternoon again. Lynn Johnson with Lincoln Parks and Recreation. I'll wait for the UMO to come up. Jensen Park is a future community park site that is located south and east of 84th Street and Yankee Hill Road. This piece of property was acquired through a gift from the Jensen family back in 1995, and that gift was given to the city with the intent that it be used to purchase parkland. The original purchase included this entire area and a portion of area right here. Back in 2017, we exchanged property, this piece of property here, for this 40 acres here. And I would tell you that at that time, we should have been before the city council requesting that this piece of property be identified as dedicated parkland consistent with the rest of Jensen Park. I tell you a little bit about why we propose reconfiguring the property. This piece here is sewerable. It's well suited to development. There's a slope and a drainage channel that really separates this portion of Jensen Park from the portion here that was exchanged. This portion is relatively flat. It's essentially on the same grade as much of the rest of the park. And the city really ended up with a park that is much better suited to future development for active recreation use. And so, as I say, the recommendation here is that the city council passed a resolution dedicating this 40 acres in the eastern portion of Jensen Park for public park purposes in perpetuity. And I'd be able to answer, happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions for Director Johnson? Councilman McGinnis?
You said in perpetuity, forever.
Yeah, there we go.
So at one point, if that ever was to be sold off, we couldn't sell it, or?
That's the intent of parkland dedication. Essentially, it is a commitment to the community that the land will remain in parks and recreation use. And it's consistent with the gift that was provided by the Jensen family. They gave that gift with the intent that the land be purchased and that it be held as parkland into the future.
Okay.
Any other questions for Director Johnson? Okay, seeing none, thanks so much.
You bet.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on item 4B? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on.
Item 4C is approving the dedication of 5 parcels that comprise Trendwood Park as public parkland.
The image that is up on the unit right now is of Trentwood Park. This is a neighborhood park in southeast Lincoln. This is A Street. Seacrest Park and East High School are just north and west of this site. There are 5 parcels that comprise Trentwood Park, and the neighborhood has requested that these parcels be dedicated as parkland. They've been used as parkland for about 40 years at this point, and it would be these 2 parcels that have frontage on South 77th Street and actually A Street. This large parcel, this parcel here is the access point into the park, and then there's a parcel here on the southern end of the park. And as I say, really this is a request that has been brought forward from neighbors living in the area of Trentwood Park. It's been reviewed by the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and they're recommending to the City Council that this land be dedicated as parkland.
Are there any questions for Director Johnson? Councilwoman Washington?
I don't have any questions, but I wanted to, I just wanted to say I'm really thankful that you were able to look at this issue and bring it forward. We were approached by a couple of folks in the neighborhood, I think Mr. Yardley, and he was very compelling when I went out to meet with the neighbors about this project and about the need to dedicate these parcels that had been there and used as parkland but weren't noted as parkland. So thank you for your attention on this one.
Absolutely.
Any further questions for Director Johnson? Councilman McGinnis?
No, I agree. They needed to be dedicated as a parkland and such. My thoughts were, though, if A Street needed to be widened at some point in the future, they would have to replace the parkland, or can they? I mean, how would that happen if the city came along and wanted to widen A Street?
If there were federal funds involved, there would be a review of it, and it would look at potential impacts, and if there were no alternatives or no reasonable alternatives, it would be allowed to proceed. Dedicated parkland is different from Land and Water Conservation Fund encumbered property in that instance, the land, if this had been, or if Land and Water Conservation funds had been used in the development of this park, that area would have had to have been replaced. But with it being dedicated parkland, that is not the requirement.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Director Johnson? Okay, seeing none. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak on item 4C? Anyone else that would like to speak on item 4C? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on.
We can now vote on those items. Item 4A is approving the services agreement between the City of Lincoln on behalf of the Lincoln-Lancaster County Health Department and the Board of Regents of the University of Nebraska on behalf of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln for online food handler training in Spanish, introduced by McGinnis.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Councilwoman Raybold. Any discussion? Seeing none, may you please call the roll?
Beckius,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 4B is approving the dedication of 40 acres in the eastern portion of Jensen Park as public parkland, introduced by McGinnis.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Councilwoman Washington. Any discussion? Seeing none, may you please call the roll?
McGinnis,
No.
Ward,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-1. Item 4C is approving the dedication of 5 parcels that comprise Trentwood Park as public parkland, introduced by McGinnis.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Councilwoman Washington. Any discussion? Seeing none, may you please call the roll?
Ward,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. That concludes section 4 of our agenda. We'll move on to section 5, our public hearing, ordinances, second reading, and related resolutions. Item 5A through 5C, I'll read together. Change of zone 21028, application of creek carrier to change from H1 interstate commercial to H4 general commercial on property generally located at 4800 West O Street, and the related conditional zoning agreement between the city and creek carriers for the property generally located at Northwest 48th and West O Street, and the related special permit 21029, application of creek carrier to allow for up to 130,000 square feet of commercial floor area on 23.48 acres with associated waivers on property generally located at 4800 West O Street.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this item? Anyone here that would like to speak on this item?
David Carey, Director of the Planning Department, 555 South 10th Street. Per the request of the applicant, there's a desire to delay the public hearing for 2 weeks in order to have some continued discussion about some requirements to go along with the agreement with this item, gain clarity on that. So just not quite ready yet today.
Okay. I'll move delay of 5A, 5B, 5C till the April 18th meeting
Second?
Moved and seconded by Councilman McGinnis. Any discussion?
with continued public hearing.
Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, may we please call the roll?
Raybold?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak on items 5A, 5B, 5C before we move on? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to move on.
Item 5D, amending the pay schedule for the employee group whose classifications are assigned to the pay range prefixed by the letter W by creating the classification of Assistant Director of Aging Partners.
Nicole Gross, Human Resources, 555 South 10th Street. This request is to create a classification of Assistant Director of Aging. This is a request from the Aging Department. A current employee would move into this classification as this employee is performing the work described in this description.
Okay, is there any questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to move on. Or is there anyone else here that would like to speak on that item? Okay, seeing none, now we'll move on.
Item 5E is amending pay schedule for employee group whose classifications are assigned to the pay range which is prefixed by A by changing the pay range class 1342 police records manager from A13 to A16.
This is a request to change the pay range of the police records manager from an A13 to A16. This is a request from the police department.
Are there any questions from the council? Seeing none, is there anyone else here that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to move on.
Item 5SF is amending the pay schedule for employee group whose classifications are assigned to the pay range which is prefixed by A to changing the pay range class 3143 crime analysis manager from A13 to A15.
This is a request to change the pay range of the crime analysis manager from A13 to A15. This is a request from the police department.
Are there any questions from the council? Seeing none, is there anyone else here that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to move on.
Item 5G is amending Lincoln Municipal Code Section 2.76.145 Compensation Plan, Merit Pay Plan, Administration and Requirements for Advancement, Section 2.76.150 Compensation Plan, Merit Pay Plan, Pay Increases for Exceptional Service, and Section 2.76.153 Compensation Plan, Merit Pay Plan, Shift Differential to reflect changes in the Lincoln Municipal Code that coincide with page labor contract changes effective August 19, 2021 by amending Section 2.76200 Compensation Plan, Temporary Assignment in a Higher Classification to remove crew leader pay by amending Section 2.76.202 Wage Adjustment to remove crew leader and repealing Sections 2.76.145, 2.76.150, 2.76153, 2.76200, and 2.76202 of the Lincoln Municipal Code as hereto existing.
These changes reflect several different things. One thing is they reflect changes that were made to the page contract during labor negotiations. They also reflect cleanup language, and then we also are reflecting deletion of some language due to us creating classifications that would make language obsolete.
Are there any questions from the council? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone here that would like to speak on this item? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to move on.
Item 5H is adopt the supplements of the Lincoln Municipal Code dated June 2021 and December 2021 as part of the official Lincoln Municipal Code.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this item? Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to move on.
I'll be calling items 5I and 5J together. 5I is annexation 22002, application of Matador LLC to annex approximately 50.53 acres more or less on property generally located at South 94th and Van Dorn Streets, and the related change of zone 17030D to change from AG Agriculture District to R3 Residential District PUD to expand the Wandering Creek Planned Unit Development by 51.53 acres, more or less, for additional residential area, and to adjust the lot layout of the residential transition area with associated waivers, property generally located at South 94th and Van Dorn Streets.
Brandon Bartek with Olson, 601 P Street, Suite 200, here on behalf of Matadol LLC. The annexation and change of zone before you is approximately 50 acres. It allows for 114 additional lots to be developed in accordance with the Wandering Creek PUD. This area was previously shown as conceptual, so it's basically just an expansion of the PUD. The change of zone, currently it's AG, it's being rezoned to R3. And any questions?
Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, thanks so much. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this item? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on.
We can move to section 6, ordinances third reading and related resolutions. Item 6A is use permit 21010, application of Waterford Estates LLC to allow up to 505 multifamily dwelling units and 48,000 square feet of commercial floor area on approximately 24.24 acres with associated waivers on property generally located at North 98th Street and Boathouse Road, introduced by Washington.
So moved.
Second.
And,
Moved and seconded by Councilwoman Raybold.
and I would like to make a motion to delay the vote on this item until April 25th at the applicant's request.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded by Councilwoman Washington. Any discussion on the motion to delay? Seeing none, may we please call the roll?
Schob,
Yes.
McGinnis,
He stepped out.
Abstain.
Conflict of interest.
Raybold,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 6B is Comprehensive Plan Amendment 22003, application of the Planning Director to amend the Lincoln-Lancaster County 2050 Comprehensive Plan to revise the future land use map from commercial and urban density residential to public and semi-public on property legally generally located at Waterford Estates Drive in Linwood Lane, introduced by Washington.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Councilman Beckius. Any discussion? You all right?
Did Jerry come up and explain why we don't need to delay this one?
Are we going to delay this one or not?
No, it's just
No.
5A.
Okay.
Come up and explain why we
Please,
don't.
yes.
Any further discussion?
Yes, could Director Carey please come up and explain why we don't have to delay this one?
David Carey, Director of the Planning Department, 555 South 10th Street. These items, it can be a little confusing because what we just did delay is right next door to the east of this property. But this is a separate project. What's before you today for action is a comprehensive plan amendment and a change of zone that is simply to reflect the public use, the Southeast Community College use of this property moving forward into the future. There is a related preliminary plat that has the details, more of the details. That is an ongoing discussion that is not being asked to be acted on today. So this is just for the land use portion of this piece of property, which can move forward today for action.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion or questions? Councilman Beckius?
No. No.
Okay. All right, seeing no further discussion, may we please call the roll?
Washington,
Yes.
Beckius,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Item 6C is change of zone 22001, application of Southeast Community College to change from AG Agriculture District, B2 Planned Neighborhood Business District, and R3 Residential District to P Public Use District and O3 Office District to P Public Use District on property generally located at Waterford Estates Drive and Linwood Lane, introduced by Washington.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Councilman Beckius. Any discussion? Seeing none, may we please call the roll?
Beckius,
Yes.
Raybold,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Schob,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0. Okay, section 7 is our resolutions first reading, items 7A through 7E. Section 8, ordinances first reading and related resolutions are items 8A and 8B. Our pending list date certain is items 9A through 9C.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Councilwoman Raybold. Any discussion? Seeing none, may you please call the roll?
Raybold?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Beckius?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
We stand adjourned.